Good evening and welcome to Lunar Goddess Tarot. I'm Sarah and I'll be your intuitive guide and your reader today. So we're going to go on a journey together. We're going to look into some cards and the energies. I really would encourage you guys, especially if you're new to the channel or whether or not you've been watching since the beginning, since the inception of this channel in January of last year, or you just found me. The last two readings I've done have been really, really potent and powerful. And you'll know that there's a shift or a transition in the way in which I'm delivering readings and even the content of my readings. But what I'm starting to realize is that I am a voice for the divine masculine as a collective. So I am here to support and encourage and empower the divine feminine. And I'm also here to be a voice for the divine masculine energy. Okay, it's a template, it's an energy within us. I am here to help people step out of this template of one person being the center of your world and starting to expand, create the sense of community, and for us to realize the powerful work that we're doing as individuals and also as a collective. And really to potentially drop some of these labels. Labels create and perpetuate separation. And so you'll notice I don't really use the term twin flames. I will use the term beloved or a divine counterpart or your person. But I typically try to stay away from twin flames except when I am working on the title of a video just for the purposes of people being able to find my content who need to find it, who want to find it. But other than that, you'll notice that I tend to refer to this person in different terms because I want us to begin detaching or continue detaching from this one person as the center of our universe. We are stepping into a place of community on this planet. And as we step into a place of community on this planet, what's happening is we are starting to understand the immense and innate power within us. We're stepping into mission more powerfully than ever before. And I'm being shown that between 2022 and 2024, so the next, let's say 3.5 years, okay, 22, 23, 24, and the rest of 2021 is when we, especially with this eclipse season that we've just stepped into, we're really going to be seeing the energy surge and we're going to be seeing the rise in this community. And I talked about this in my video from earlier today, so I really urge you to check that out. I talked a lot about the eclipse energies, these powerful astrological forces that are currently impacting the collective, how you can be more impactful, how you can impact your connection. And I also talked a lot about generational trauma, generational healing, which is coming up with this series of eclipses in Sag and Gemini. So I want you guys to take a look because these eclipses are falling under the axis that the North Node and South Node for the collective is in. So they're really powerful and potent for the divine path, your dharma, your true path, your destined path, as well as the healing, the karmic healing, healing from generational trauma, healing from past lives, calling back your power, calling back your soul fragments. There's just a lot of energy in these eclipses. And I'm finding that even though I'm physically pretty fatigued as well, still from this energy, because now we have a solar eclipse in 2 weeks after this lunar eclipse. So there's no rest, right, for the weary. There's no rest for the wicked, like I said in my reading earlier today. But I'm here to really hold the space as I've been holding the space for the masculines. And you'll hear me in the last 2 readings. You'll see me talking about this over on Patreon and talking about how, I am here to assist the divine masculine template, both within us and the physical masculines. So I am going to be speaking about the masculines again, because when I try to step away, they come to me and literally bombard me in my dream state in my 3D world. I can't even tell you how many masculines I've met over the past few days in my 3D world, as well as in the 4D and the 5D. And I am meant to assist them with their journey. I am not meant to be a silent player. So that being said, I'm still going to talk about the divine masculine, but it's not going to be this obsessive, what are they doing in their 3D? What matters is the energy. We want to discuss the energy of the divine masculines and understand how this is impacting the collective, how this is impacting us each individually. So I want to take a look at the Syrian Starseed Tarot. Interesting that we have the shadow on the bottom of the deck. So I'm going to take that as a sign that wants to be looked at, because I was heavily guided to look at the bottom of the deck. And I'm typically, you'll notice if you've watched my readings for a while, I don't typically look at the bottom of the deck. Once in a while I'm called to see what is being hidden from plain view. But I haven't even shuffled the deck, and here it is. So let's take a look at the shadow energy, because this is exactly what's going on, is the masculine and the feminine. In the traditional tarot, this is the devil card. But I love how in this deck, it is a shadow. This is like the cobweb, the shadow of our own mind, the cobweb of our own mind, the psyche, it's the subconscious. And we have Pluto in retrograde. We had the Scorpio full moon. We had this eclipse full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. And then we have the solar eclipse in Gemini coming up in 2 weeks. And as we hit Gemini season, Gemini is the sign of communication, the sign of the twins. And so expect to see some forward movement once Mercury resumes forward momentum. And expect to see some communication within your counterpart dynamic. Okay. I also want to point out that this is about us confronting our inner demons, okay? This energy, the shadow energy, is about being brave enough, being courageous enough to confront that which we have pushed to the side or pushed down over the years, just to make things more comfortable for ourselves. Sometimes this can indicate there's some temptation, to the dark side. It's like being called over to the dark side. If you can see the person, a figurine shadow, and then you can see their actual shadow. And what I feel like is going on here is that as we step further into this place of generational healing, I think that yes, there is some resistance, but right now it feels like resistance to the physical body or the physical experience. And so we are bringing light to the darkness right now. And there's many, many things still in the dark, but there's many things that have been brought to light and that are currently being brought to life. Part and parcel of being human is, right, suffering. But then you look at different cultures and you see, you hear, well, you don't have to suffer, right? Buddhists believe that you can transcend suffering through meditation, through conquering the mind and the ego, quieting the mind, or at least being friends with the mind, and letting the mind be in the back seat and letting the soul be in the driver's seat. And we do this through meditation. We do this through relaxation, through contemplation, through yogic movements. We do this through mindfulness, in other various forms. And I think this is really teaching us that pain is inevitable on this human journey, but the suffering, the actual suffering, is optional. It's all in our perspective and how we choose to respond or react. But it doesn't feel that way, because when you're moving through something, when you're going through something, it feels like I don't have a choice. This is just painful. My heart is breaking. But the more we focus on the loss, the more we focus on what isn't there, the more we are presented with that feeling of basically that vacuum energy, that feeling that we need to fill this void, we need to fill this hole. So in the traditional sense, the devil card here is speaking of the light of the divine within us. And I just noticed that what they're actually standing in front of, that's covered by this cobweb, it's the Great Sphinx of Giza. So some of you will relate to this and relate to ancient Egypt as part of your heritage, as part of your past lives, your experiences. And what is happening is these ancient belief systems are being resurrected, if you will. And the Sphinx, if you're familiar with the Sphinx, he's very mysterious, has a very scorpionic quality to him, but he is the keeper of ancient wisdom, of secrets. So he contains the secrets. And a lot of people see this as devilish or, devilish in nature, but I see it as powerful. But, our secrets are powerful, but they can also overpower us. So we need to make sure that we overpower the ego and overpower the mind and overpower the shadow so that it doesn't overpower us. We decide the experiences that we're having on this earth plane, okay? Now, this precedes the Tower card. So it's like the Devil card, because we're moving through the major arcana, right? It's a journey. It's a hero's journey. So you have this sort of this temptation, this looking into the darkness, the darkness, the heart of darkness, that novel by Joseph Conrad. Highly recommend to read if you haven't read it. But this is what we're moving through right now. We're moving through, it's the soul of the world, like I've talked about in my last 2 videos. Please take a look at them, guys. They're not getting as many views, and I think it's because people are wanting, the majority of people are still wanting the focus to be on the divine masculine. If this isn't you, then you've moved to the next level. And if you're still needing or wanting to hear about the divine masculine, there's zero judgment. I just want to encourage you to move beyond that idea, that obsession, that need for that to manifest in a certain way in a certain time. We are really being called as the Divine Feminine Collective to let go of all possible. We're being called to let go of everything, to welcome in every single possibility in the highest love possible. Whether that be your counterpart, whether that be a soulmate, whether that be your relationship to God, your relationship to the universe, your relationship to your mission, whether that be your relationship to self. We're all at different aspects of our journey. No one is ahead and no one is behind. We're all walking each other home. So this energy is par for the course for what we're going through right now as a collective. So now let's actually shuffle this tarot deck and see what we have. I'd like to get some, because these masculines have been coming to me in dream state, I would like to get some more information for this masculine template. So more information for the masculine, the divine masculine energy that exists within everything. The divine masculine energy, please. And what are they moving through with this eclipse? 2 of Cups. So this eclipse is setting in motion a series of events which is going to see the divine masculine moving towards the divine feminine, okay? And I know that you can't see this yet. And I know that's frustrating. I know some of you are rolling your eyes. But I want you to understand that there is a cosmic shift, okay? A cosmic shift that is creating like a glitch in the matrix with these eclipses. Things are literally being eclipsed out. You guys, if you're really paying attention, you may see glitches in the matrix. And that happens in various ways, but one of the ways in which it happens is you're looking at something and then all of a sudden you see, it's like the thing that you're looking at moves, but it's a very, just a quick like, ding, ding. And it happened twice to me last night as I was having a conversation with another DF about something in particular, and it happened ding, ding, like twice in a row. And it was that glitch in the matrix. And it's like everything falls away in that moment. And you just know that you've just jumped timelines. Okay, so we're jumping timelines, okay, with this eclipse. And the masculines are a lot further ahead than we think. They're just being really quiet right now. It's funny because they're not quiet in the 5D. They're not quiet in the 4D. And they're actually coming forward in the 3D, but your particular, who you identify as your divine masculine may be extra quiet right now. But you may have other masculines that are coming into the picture, that are visiting you in your dreams, that are visiting you in the 5D, that are wanting help, they're wanting guidance. Like they're literally begging for assistance from the feminine. And I encourage you to open your hearts and open your minds to whomever and to whatever. Let that need for union, as we have perceived it in the physical sense and the human sense, to fall away. Feel the grief, feel the fear, feel the tears. Let the tears fall from your eyes. Feel the water on your cheeks. Experience the agony, the pain. of letting go of your divine counterpart. And then see where you are after that. See where that brings you. Because the masculine energy within all of us is really in line with union, okay? The masculine energy is having this conversation with the universe. And part of what's going on with the masculines is the inability, the masculine energy within all of us. The inability, like how do we push away love? The inner masculine energy is fearful that they are not deserving of this great love. So when your counterpart pushes you away, understand that they're doing so out of a lack of self-worth. It's hard to believe that these masculines who are so powerful, some of them are very wealthy, mine included, wealthy, powerful, impactful, pioneers, domineers, leaders, CEOs, could potentially feel inferior to us, but they do. And it's about your energy. Your masculine would have said something along the lines of, you're different. I can't put a finger on what this is. I can't define this. Or they may not have said that. They just would have never given you a title because they didn't know how to define this, because there were no limits. It was a limitless connection, and they didn't want to bind it. Okay. They didn't want to imprison it. So they wouldn't have put a label on it, which made the feminine feel rejected or abandoned, which then set in motion the series of events that led to her healing abandonment wounds and rejection wounds and codependency. So you can see how this all played out so beautifully. Now, the feminine doesn't believe this right now. She doesn't believe that union's possible. She doesn't believe that union is happening. She doesn't believe that her counterpart's doing the work. She just doesn't see it. There's no proof. The ego, the mind, there's no proof. It's not happening. It's never going to happen. It never will happen. And so you're being pushed so far out of your comfort zone that you have no choice but to grow and expand divine feminine. You have no choice. There is no other choice. There is only growth. There is only expansion from here, because your counterpart is missing in action. They're MIA for a reason, for a purpose. But look at what's happening in the divine masculine's world. You are absolutely at the core of everything they do, everything they think. They can't escape you. The masculine energy knows this. They cannot escape the feminine, but they're not even trying anymore. They've actually surrendered to the plan. It's the feminine who's clinging. Okay. Let's get some... Okay, let's get a card for the divine feminine, because the shadow, that devil card, was really for the collective, but I'd like to get a card strictly for the divine feminine. Interesting. The feminine's between worlds with the Two of Swords. The orbs is the swords, the suite of the swords, the mind, the intellect, the rationale, the logic. Okay, there's a need for balance in the feminine's world. So there's been a lot of stress in the 3D world for the feminine. This is how the feminine is sort of responding to the runner energy. The feminine is responding to being the runner by staying busy, by keeping busy. Their stressors have piled up in her 3D world. I've experienced this to no end. It's literally been one thing after another. You can hear it in my voice, actually. I'm exhausted on many levels, but I'm also okay, right? It's like something also that interesting that's happening for the feminines is if you've reached out to your masculine probably hasn't responded, but you're okay with it. You're totally okay with it. You might be a little annoyed, a little pissed, a little aggravated, a little frustrated, but the sadness isn't there. So there's been this shift with this, like I actually see the earth shifting. They're showing me the shifting, like the seismic shifts that would happen, the geological shifting and the energetic shifting that's happening with these eclipses. So what's happening is the feminine is literally between worlds. And as I once described it to my lovely divine feminine friends, former client, now really close friend, Sally. Shout out to Sally. As I described it to her in one of the readings or healings she had with me way back when, last year, I said, it's like you're between levels. You're between floors on an elevator in a hotel room. You're between floors right now. And that's where the feminine is. She's between worlds. She's neither here nor there. You see how she's got her breast that is revealed, but the other one is covered. There's this sense of wanting to reveal her true nature and also being not quite sure that it's the right time. Things are still brewing, things are still manifesting, but there's a powerful manifesting energy that I'm picking up on from this particular Two of Swords that I wouldn't necessarily pick up on in other Two of Swords. There's an imbalance because you see one orb is higher than the other. So the 3D has taken precedence over maybe spiritual matters or even self-care. What's interesting is that we have the 2 and the 2, the vibration of 2 for both counterparts. 2 represents the union, the yoke. Yoga means union, yoke. It's the yoking of the 2. It's the bringing together, the harmonious union, okay, the merging. But look at the difference. The feminine standing alone, the feminine out of balance, the masculine wanting, look at that, leveled up with the feminine, wanting to pair up, but the feminine is over here in like no man's land. The masculine, it's like he feels like there's no room for him. So he does see the feminine as really traversing this domain by herself solo. He knows that the feminine's doing this alone. There's a sense of guilt that he can't be there to assist her through this. There is. So the masculine's dealing with that, and the masculine's also dealing with this yearning and this longing. So believe it or not, you're masculine. However he's showing up in the 3D, whatever mask he's got on, or whatever line he's told you, or however much he's been ignoring you or shutting you out, you're very much on his mind and in his heart, very much a part of his world, very much a part of his planning and his future. But the feminine can't seem to make up her mind. So you see how this energy can't enter this energy, vice versa. So you're in like 2 different worlds right now. This represents her subconscious. This represents clarity. There's some fogginess. There's some things that need to be worked through in the subconscious that's rising up to the surface. And then this is the clarity that she will receive. You notice how she's not struggling here. There's very much an effortlessness that's happening here, even with the way she's dressed. Even her hair is a bit wild and free. So there's not a struggle here. She's just reflecting on the decisions she can make, on the choices that are being presented to her. Interesting. The star also came up with the feminine energy. So as we know, the star is about dreams and wishes coming true. It's about believing in your destiny. The star is also, it's about believing in something that you can't quite see. Okay, so it's also about Orion and the 7 sisters and how he chased them endlessly through the night sky. So I think this is asking the feminine to give up the chase, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think I think perhaps the feminine is being asked to embrace her own journey. And there's an illumination that's happening here, a boldened illumination of what matters and what's real. right? She's on a journey. She's on mission. And she's remembering who she is and why she's here and what she's doing. There's a lot of hope in this card, and there's a lot of energy of like newness, a fresh start, a rebirth, a reinvention. Those of you who are Syrian starseeds will also be drawn to this energy in this card. Sirius A, Sirius B, and there's even Sirius C, which exists in the 4th dimension. Sirius A is still in the 3rd dimension, but Sirius B is all the way ascended to the 6th dimension. And this is about the ascension process, the ascension journey. And it's about the dreams that we have for the future. It's about trusting your path. It's about trusting that Earth is now home, especially for my starseeds out there. This is the Starseed Tarot. Let us look at, I know I used these cards earlier, but this is just what I'm being drawn to. Spirit, share with us, if you will. So fascinating. Share with us, if you will, what do the masculines wish to share right now with the feminines? Pretty clear, right? Pretty clear message. Align your life. What isn't aligned, what is not aligned or needs to change? Look, there's some sort of distortion, some sort of it's like fragments. I remember I talked about drawing back or calling back your soul fragments. So the masculine's asking the feminine to get realigned with herself. Look, I mean, he knows that you're out of balance. Feminine, you're out of balance. You need to bring yourself back into alignment. And you're calm. You can do this calmly. You don't need to do this like, it doesn't need to be done quick. It doesn't even need to be done right away. But he also is asking you to get grounded, to ground yourself, nature, meditation. This is about, especially those of you who consider yourselves highly sensitive persons or empaths, which pretty much every light worker or starseed is going to be an empath and a sensitive person. Getting back to your roots, getting back to yourself, align yourself, get grounded. This is what your masculine counterpart is asking you to do. Stop relying on them. I know this sounds harsh. Trust me, I've been receiving this message from my own masculine for weeks now. Stop relying on me. The messages from the masculines, especially the masculines who are 48 plus older, like 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, etc. They come through sort of blunt and much more rational and very concrete. Stop relying on me. Stop relying on us. Feminine, get your own life. Go forward with confidence and trust. And they're saying this from a place of unconditional love. They love you so much. They don't want to see you suffer anymore because they're not with you in the physical. They've got their own path right now. And these masculines they're able to step away from the feminine because they know that's what you most need. It's not love in the 3D sense, which is, overwhelming, where you have to be with a person all the time. This love can transcend time and space. This love is endless. There is no end to this love. It's not conditional. 3D love is conditional. I love you if, I love you when, I love you but. You ever heard someone say, I love you but? No. There is no but. They love you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you happy more than anything. So let's get some wisdom here. What does the feminine want to say to the masculine? Leap. She's like, please take that leap of faith. Please trust. Please just open yourself up to the possibilities of this union, of what this entails of this connection. Please, please. I mean, it's the planning phase for the feminine. It feels like the masculine's been planning and planning and planning for eons. The feminine's like, please just start this journey. The Fool is the first card of the major arcana. It's like, we've ended those previous cycles. You've ended those cycles. Now let's get going. Let's get going with our journey, with our union. We have to start somewhere. What else does the feminine wish to say to the masculine? You're my mirror. The feminine says, I know I trigger you and I know I have triggered you, but I want you to go deeper and I want you to ask yourself who or what is triggering you and why and what is this teaching you, masculine? So masculine's been triggered by the feminine's actions. That could be another reason they're not reaching back out. Or they've gone silent or, haven't responded. Your counterpart never really ghosts you, even though that's a 3D term. They never actually ghost you, even if it looks like it or feels like it. The Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes, masculine. Your feminine wants you to know that she has full faith and trust in you and that you have to trust yourself. You have to take this leap of faith. Masculine, you have to walk into this portal, not knowing what's on the other side, and trust that you are this being of light. Masculines are so powerful right now. They're really rising. The masculine template is really rising on this planet, and it needs to rise. We need masculines taking action, not just laying down, letting this happen, but fighting for their rights, fighting for their freedom, fighting for the planet, fighting for the future generations, fighting for the connection, fighting for love, fighting for the meaning, the mission. Why am I here? I'm not here to sit back and let this happen. That's not a divine masculine. The divine masculines are alpha in nature. This whole idea of toxic masculinity has got to go. We need the masculines stepping up into their power. They've been training for this for lifetimes, masculines. It's time for you to identify who you are. And it's time for you to acknowledge that you're here for something much greater than you may have first understood. You incarnated at this time, masculine, for a reason. You knew exactly what was going to happen. So don't feel unprepared. Don't feel daunted. Don't feel scared. You have lifetimes of preparation, masculine. You just have to trust. You have to take that leap of faith into the unknown. Trust your mirror. Trust your feminine. Trust your inner feminine. Your inner feminine is going to make sure that this journey is worthwhile. Your inner feminine is going to make sure that you're taken care of and that you're nurtured and that you're loved. You have a clear soul plan. It's time to follow it, masculines. And let's get some cards here for the union energy. So we know that the twins are on separate paths right now, in a sense, for many. If this doesn't resonate, don't make it resonate, please. Don't stress yourself out. Play. Have fun. Celebrate. Don't be so serious. Why so serious? Right? Serious. Why so serious? Yeah, Syrians are playful. My Syrian guides are very playful. So bring in some playfulness. This is not the first time we're seeing this card either. I just saw 3333. Bring in some playfulness, feminines and masculines watching. Know that you are loved. Know that you are adored. Know that you are taken care of. Understand that this journey is so fucking challenging that we need. Look what was on the bottom of the deck for the union energy. Clinging. Crumbling. What are you clinging on to? It's crumbling. Look, it's crumbling with the eclipse. The eclipse brought in towers, ego deaths. You know it did. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just let this be a time where you just play and relax. Let's get one more card for the union energy. The ever unfolding rose. Cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. This is not happening to you. You asked for this. This is part of the divine plan. Look at this. It's part of the divine plan. It's all laid out in front of us. All we have to do is remain vulnerable, remain open. Don't close your hearts. Don't close yourself off, feminine, masculine. You're the keepers of the earth. And you're not alone. Your ancestors are with you. Your animal spirit guides are assisting you. Your grandmother, your grandfathers, great-grandmother, great-grandfather, Native American heritage. I just heard Incan heritage. Yeah, the Incas. So that's relevant to somebody out there, Inca. And I'm also hearing Peru. Anything else? France is coming up as well. Egypt, obviously. The Sphinx. And Syria. That's interesting. But Incan came up immediately. Okay, so understand that your ancestors are here to help. They're here to guide. They're beside you. They're right beside you all the time. You're never alone, but you do have to ask them for help. Ask them for help and they shall appear. Don't be too proud to ask for help. I hope this reading has inspired you and clarified your journey for you. I send you all so much love and light and joy and an abundance of everything your heart could desire. Take great care, guys. This is a weekend of rest. It's a weekend of acclimating and integrating the energies from the eclipse. I send you all love and light, and I'll see you so soon. Thank you so much for being here.